that apparently if you can't get back to a customer within 5 minutes of them contacting you, you're losing out on a 78% chance of closing that sale. Dude, I can't even get back to my wife within five
Right.
minutes of her contacting me. And that has bigger collateral damage. But
Yeah,
that's my
absolutely.
opinion. But what do you do?
Well, I mean, it's a well-known statistic, and again, it comes back to giving yourself the best opportunity. So, flat out, I mean, the way that I've resolved it is I use AI. I immediately engage with my prospects. That's where I use AI the most. Is especially if someone's come in off of a like an ad or anything like that, we're immediately engaging with them, having a conversation, getting them qualified, and getting them into the schedule. Like everybody wants in the Amazon experience, right? So the speed to lead is a real deal. We're seeing it across the board because the reality is, let's just think about the way that you buy and the way you purchase, right? We're moving more and more to this like immediate gratification economy, and like if you haven't responded, they've already asked three other people, for a quote. Whoever responds first gets the deal, right?
I'll
Like
tell you
that's
one thing. Like
yeah,
for sure, if like when I'm in the mood to buy, if it doesn't happen, then I'm moved on to something
that's
else.
right.
An hour goes
Well,
by, I'm
and
cooking dinner or something, right?
and again, guys that are out there that have tried ads before and they failed, most of the time when we look at that situation, it's not that the ads failed, it's that they failed to respond, because you're dealing with somebody that doesn't know you, trust you, is maybe seen an ad, and it's cold traffic. So a lot of guys rely strictly on word of mouth and referrals and stuff, and that's a hard go. It's hard to grow and scale a business that way. The real key, I think, for any business, and this is across the board, every business is going to have to adapt to this. Period. Like full stop. Like even if you have referrals, because of the way that we now do business and the expectation of the client, a millennial as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
we expect everything to be Amazon like, fast and convenient. All right, and that includes contractors, and contractors are famous for not
Of
communicating, not
course.
getting back to their prospects, not. And then guys are out in the field and answering the phone when they can get back to them, and that's just not going to work anymore. Like they're going to see a big loss in business, they're going to see a big hole in their income as a result of it, right? So one of the most easiest things to fill right now, and shameless plug here for Contractor AI, is one of the problems we solve, is not hiring someone to answer your phones in 5 minutes and return phone calls. Is start with what we have to offer. Start with an AI that can engage, book appointments, schedule things for you. I mean, it's a simple form of it, really simple for us to set up for you. But again, what an advantage over anyone else that's not using it, right? Think about just being, for those guys out there that are really busy, in the field, got all these things. I hear it all day. They've got no time for anything. They got no time to run their business. Like they're just out there purely hustling. Okay. Let's do ourselves a simple favor. If every time that you needed to schedule someone and you just sent them to a landing page or sent them your link, and the AI was able to make sure they got into their schedule, how much more time would you have? How many more opportunities would you not lose? Right? So again, these things are powerful. They're helping companies immediately. Like I have a full scale company, and with this thing books appointments for us 24/7, 365. I'd love to, anybody that wants to see a demo or see it, and not just me, but our clients as well. And we're finding more practical uses for it. So speed the lead. I mean, again, if you want to improve your sales, just that thing alone will make a significant difference. Now, if you want to add real firepower on top of that, follow up. How many guys are following up on the leads and the estimates that they sent in a timely basis? Zero. I very few contractors, or they might call their prospects. And another way to look at it, another big win for you, if you were just to cover these things, all right? When somebody calls you and you call them back and maybe they don't pick up, you just leave it there? How many times do you call? How many times do you follow up? What if something was there that just continuously followed up till they said, no, thank you, I'm not interested? Perfect. Right? So, I mean, that's an indefinite and full follow-up. And that could go on for years. Who knows? Right? We have people in our pipeline that we could see open our emails and haven't got back to us, or, showed interest. We gave them a quote, and our AI is just following up, just keeping actual conversations, keeping them engaged, not like spamming. That's the big
Yeah.
difference. It's not spamming. It's not sending out an email that's unconnected to a conversation that you had at any point in history. So think about having a chat with somebody, picking up that conversation down the line at the appropriate time and, re-engaging with them. You're going to have a far better conversion rate, right? So, use it or don't use it. I mean, it's up to you. But I mean, I know and myself and my competitors or other people that are going to be
Mhm.
competing with you will be. It's just a matter of time. All right. So, I mean, at a certain point, you're going to have to decide, is this something that I want to protect myself with? Or am I just going to leave it for, the point where I can't find work anymore?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it makes sense. Like you want to get ahead
Right.
of it, and these systems
And it
have
takes
the
no more
cost
time.
has come down so much. Like these
Mhm.
technologies were reserved for large corporations. Now it could be in our hands. It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, there's some nuance with that. Again, like a lot of new emerging businesses coming in wanting to do AI, and AI is new, so we're all new, right? We're all new at it.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of companies we've been, we position ourselves. I spent big, big money at learning, adapting, building a team around, building these things and making these things real. The technology is still developing. It's still, it's got its quirks. There's no such thing as an unsupervised AI. All right, meaning that simple as it sounds, if you were to hire an employee to answer your phones and you didn't train them and just threw them in there, you'd probably get piss poor results, right?
Yeah.
Okay, same thing with AI. So AI actually learns from you, and I don't think a lot of people understand that, which is really kind of it's the most interesting part about it is it learns like your nuance, your speech, how you deal with things. When you're chatting back and forth with a prospect as you're trading it, it's learning from that.
Dude, that's
and
crazy.
and it takes it over. So like again, and here's the thing, it covers your social media, it covers anywhere where someone can text you, all right, is where it's learning from. So a lot of times we find problems with these AIs, or not problems, we solve problems with these AIs by looking at what the owner's communication chain is like. And what we find is like, actually, we need to correct the owner from responding to prospects because it's god awful. And right from there, I mean, just making those corrections, we've seen, accounts go up 20, 30, 40%
Really?
without doing anything, no extra ads, no nothing, just 30 to 40% by properly responding in a professional way to prospects coming through the door. And I can't tell you, I've been in shock. I have at least 5 accounts, and these tend to be smaller, guys that are working on the tools still. But their communication style was really like, it was bad. It was abrasive. It did everything to basically push people away from doing business with them. It was inconsistent. So again, think about it this way: like how much trust is lost when you start a conversation, then don't respond for 5 hours,
100%. Yeah, we
right?
wouldn't put up with it in our own lives.
Well, exactly. So, but contractors expect that their clients will, and it's not that way. And the reality is they can just, jump on, and there's 100 other people there now, even more than there was before. And what we're fighting now is agencies have gotten into it where they said, you know what, we're just going to jump in and handle the whole, like acquiring the lead and like getting them qualified, and then we're going to sell that lead to the highest bidder. And that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what's killing like a lot of stuff. And like contractors are in like big trouble if these agencies get a foothold. We're seeing it in the Toronto area where there's agencies in there. I mean, there must be 10 to 15 new roofing companies starting a day. And all they're doing is putting up these fake companies and acquiring the leads, doing exactly what I said, speed the lead. Okay. They're jumping on it. They're getting the prospect qualified, and then they're going to 10 other roofers and going, all right, how much do you want to buy this lead for? And they'll sell it to 10
Wow.
of them. Right. So again, as contractors, we need to be aware of these things going on. I hope that there's some regulation that goes into it, but watch out, right? Like if that's what's happening and all they're using is the same tools that we've built, like they're using an AI chatbot, like that's all they're using. Right.
So what do the costs look like relative to hiring somebody to do it?
So yeah, so I mean, if you came in worked with us, I mean, our lease package is going to be about $997 to get set up, and that's your very basic system, right? And again, they go all the way up. So I mean, we have ones where we're using AI throughout the whole business, throughout the whole process. That's like 45 grand. So I mean, again, a guy that's just starting out, that's just trying to get his feet on benefit? Absolutely.
We spend
Right?
more on tools.
Absolutely, but they won't spend it on this kind of thing, which is literally going to buy them back the time. So, like, we see the return on the investment no matter what. ROI is through the roof. So, just think about it saving you 10 hours a month. What's the ROI? How much is your time worth? 50 bucks?
Yeah,
100 bucks? No brainer, right? No brainer. The organization and the, for a lot of guys, I don't think they like doing sales. I don't think they like talking to their prospects. I think it's a drag and a dread for them, right? Having this just in your calendar and like having it, set up on a certain day that you do your calls, but it nurtures them in between that. It makes sure that they're sending out brochures, making sure that they're, know you're interested in, kept them engaged. And then, now you're in a good position to sell, and you're not coming into a cold situation, right? Where, the homeowner's already on guard about you. You've actually warmed them up. You've opened them up. It makes for a lot easier conversations, a lot easier, sales process. So, I mean, it's a no-brainer at every point, but, we still have to get over our fear of AI as contractors. And I think that's what's really holding back the market and what's giving way to all of these agencies flooding it with, this spammy, I would say irresponsible marketing, right?
Yeah, that's crazy though. But getting ahead of it, like you could have only
Yeah.
bought Bitcoin 10 years ago,
Ah,
right?
right.
But
If
getting
only.
there before your competition does, dude.
Well, that's all. It's what it's all about. So, I mean, again, we're seeing companies that are like benefiting from it. Literally, we've got companies that have got 4, 5, 6x returns just from that, right? And it's phenomenal. It's a lot of fun to watch. It's things I've been saying for years. Things that were hard to automate and hard to like get up and going now are like, we can set them up in an afternoon, right? So, it's well worth the investment, and just try to find something negative with it. I would be surprised.
Well, I was gonna ask, like, is there a scenario where this doesn't work?
Yeah, there's definitely a few. So again, should it be, trying to sell your prospect? Probably not.
No.
Right? It can low level objection handle, which is pretty cool. Depending on like what you would have a natural conversation in a chat form would be. Like, you're not going to argue with your customer, try and do hard like price objections, but it can help with an objection for like, if they need the service or not. Like, it holds its own. And it's great for sending information, right? Like, setting those initial transactional conversational things up. I mean, just think of the time that it takes to have a chat with a client, just to find out, like, hey, are they actually like even qualified? Like, should I be having a call with them? And like, are they even in my area, like my service area? That's another one we use. So we set up an area that it'll say no thank you if they're outside of it. Like, I mean, it's pretty good that way.
So what about like handling FAQs, like,
Yeah.
frequently asked questions?
Well, that's how you train it. So you put all your FAQs inside of it. That's its knowledge base. Yeah.
So we actually put that information in there, because then, I mean, my first initial thought is like, how do I trust this thing to answer questions for me, right?
Yeah, no. So, and that's the cool thing about it, right? So, I mean, in terms of conversational, like, you have to try them. It's quite sophisticated in the conversations. And like, I'll be honest with you, some of the chats that mine have, like, better than mine. It's better than what I think. Message me at 8 in the morning and message me at 4 in the afternoon and see what the difference is.
That's
right?
a good point right there, because like, you're not always in the.
That's right. You're not always
Yeah.
thinking, but like, this thing never misses a point, right? So like, it's on point, and once you get them tuned in, and again, it's a little bit of adjustments and a little bit of back and forth, but once it's there, it's like, I mean, let's put it this way: it's about 48 cents per 100 hours of service, versus hiring somebody for $7 or $8. And by the way, at that rate, you're not even hiring an English person from this country. But like, even if you were to outsource, somebody answering your phones and like picking up your messages, like, you're not getting a human being at that rate.
I don't think you need to really say any more past that, to be honest with you.
So,
plug this thing. Where do they find them?
Yeah. So, I mean, reach out to us, put your hand up. We'll book you into a demo call. You can see it. I've got lots of demos as well in our groups anywhere. So just reach out to us, message on the live. We're pretty accessible anywhere you want. So yeah.
Question: when they do reach out to you, will they be getting an AI?
So good question. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. So our AI is trained. Again, it's a reflection of me. So when you're having a conversation, it's what I would say. All right, but I'm having hundreds of these conversations. So when a conversation goes beyond a point where we're getting into more of an intimate like conversation,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
has a fallback. So it gives it back to me. All right, and that's me actually chatting. I say it to our clients all the time, like the first 3 or 4 texts, yeah, that's not me, that's AI. But what I would say. It's copied everything that I've had in thousands of chats. It's just copying my flow, right? And then when it doesn't know the answer, it doesn't know what to say, it hands it back to me. That's how it works, right? So it allows me to get back to everybody very quickly and consistently. And then our conversations are like, again, because we have a very big range of problems that we deal with contractors. It's difficult to train an AI to have those conversations just because of the variables,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So ours does, like in our Facebook group and stuff. If I've been chatting with you a while, that's 100% me, right? So yeah. So again, if you want to book a call with me, you want to talk to my AI anyways, because like I'm not around my calendar all the time. Like I'd probably bumble it. The AI is much better. It has my whole calendar there. Like if you're asking a question, it's going to answer those things. So again, like I said, there's no such thing as an unsupervised AI, meaning that everything my AI says, I've I've manicured and corrected, and it's a reflection of me,
That's
right?
just so crazy. Like we're in
Yeah.
sci-fi world here, and we have the chance to leverage it. Like this
It's
is
it's for real. So, and I think that's the part people just don't understand, is they think that these things are something else, right? But at the end of the day, if something's going to come in and mimic you and mimic your behavior and buy you time, right, and make things more convenient for your customers, more convenient, all it's doing is speeding everything up, right? It's making sure that you're not leaving loose ends, making sure that you're not leaving those loose opportunities. It's nothing to fear as far as I'm concerned. Again, maybe down the road it will take different forms, but at this point, in terms of using it as a tool, as using it as an advantage, I see no bigger advantage in the marketplace right now.
well, the way I'm hearing it is either you do it or you don't. But if you
That's
don't,
right. I
you
mean,
eventually will.
right. Well, and again, I think a lot of people on the fence, they have to look at it this way: is like every day that passes where you're not doing the basic fundamental things of speed to lead, which is a statistically proven fact. 78% of prospects or 78% of homeowners choose to go with the contractor that responds first. If you can't fulfill that, whether you do it manually or do it with a tool, like I don't care. All right, you're losing. So that's going to have an accumulative effect as the markets have slowed down. I think a lot of guys are realizing that. We have probably 100% increase in people wanting leads and telling me they don't have their backlogs like they used to, struggling for price, struggling for
Yeah.
all these other things. And I don't think that's really the case, because I run a pretty decent business, and we're not having those problems. And I think more and more, what I like to kind of put out there in front is that I don't have a huge staff, but we're doing huge volumes, right? And it's because I've implemented these systems. So think about it that way: is it's a cost reduction, it's a quality control measure, because it doesn't have sick days or days off. It doesn't have bad days, right? Like it's always going to be the same, and it's what society is going to be expecting. So the longer you delay it, the more difficult it's going to be to catch up to it, right? Right now we're in that like sweet spot where everyone's still kind of getting used to it all, and it's like the best time to come into it. You give it another year though, and like people will have this stuff completely mastered, and it's going to get more expensive, no doubt. It's already, writing's on the wall. There's going to be more regulation. There's going to be more, like, I mean, it's a powerful tool, man. It's going to put a lot of people out of business. I guarantee it. People that just can't adapt, and I see it in what we do. I have contractors that are on calls where they completely shut down on me, and they're not having it any which way. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to push this agenda, but how do you, like, are you planning to respond to your leads in under 5 minutes?
It's
If you
impossible.
can't, yeah, exactly.
It's
And
impossible.
again, if you added up the value of doing that, it's like 48 cents per 100 hours. So,
Yeah.
like, what are we arguing about here?
Nothing at all. The stats are telling us to do something that's impossible, and the only way that
Right.
it's possible is with this.
Right. So, and then, again, you might think it's, it doesn't fit you or anything else. Well, again, you're gonna get consumed, right? And like if you cut off the lifeblood to your business, and guys that are doing other things too. Here's another way to look at it. We're working with a lot of B2B operations that have implemented it on contract management, on being able to, because they could put their whole contract into these AIs and then ask it questions when things come up on the job site.
That's insane. I have
Yeah.
this is probably going to be a stupid question,
Mhm.
but what about like field staff communicating with office about details?
Yeah.
Can it
What
be
do you
used for
mean?
that? That's
100%.
freaking insane.
Reminders. So this is the other thing. So like, how many of you guys have had a problem with, guys not, like, for us, not doing company cam, right?
Right.
The AI knows if you've uploaded or not, and it sends a message to them.
Even just that right there is a big
Right.
selling point. Like, think about how
Right.
many
Have they
phone
filled out
calls
their
you get.
time card? Oh, you've missed your time card. Like, just those transactional things that, like, if you were doing them manually, like, just think about how it's hundreds of like touch points a day.
That's nuts. So you've just hired like another 10 people for how much? Like, it's
Yeah.
crazy. Let's see
Well,
how
and I
many
mean, and
hands go up.
follow-ups and stuff, right? Like, so yeah, I mean, again, it's crazy not to, want to put these kind of things in your business. It's just, I mean, even if you're uncomfortable and don't like it, at the end of the day, it does reduce overhead. It does reduce costs. It increases customer satisfaction. It increases sales conversions. It increases profitability. So, like, argue with me. You know what I mean? Like, argue with me, and we'll see what happens, right?
Game changer, man. And my
Yeah.
confession is we're putting this into my business as well.
Yeah. Well, that's smart.
I'm excited.
You're a smart guy.
We'll talk to you again next week, buddy.